Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Shawn with Manly Made Minute, and today we're going Valentine's again today, and I've had this concept of a card in my brain. It keeps flip-flopping on what I want to do with it, which direction I want to do, what products I want to use. So I think I've narrowed it down. Not totally sure. We might switch gears here part way through today's card, but I have gotten a product, a heart die cut that I've wanted to try. My original concept was, and I'll show you when we go down to the down camera, was with the slits on the heart, inserting a little note, an envelope, or a word, or something in there, and then digging through stash, I found a couple other things that I thought would, or think will work with this card. So we're just going to jump right into it because the concept I have now, I think I can get two cards out of one. I'm trying to do one card and then do its opposite is what I'm trying to go for. Just because of how I'm going to do some distressing and things. I know I'll have extra paper and things, so I want to do opposites of these cards. So one more white and one more colored, but same kind of concept. So before we get started and go down to my down camera, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Would love to have you follow me here on YouTube. You can also find me at Manly Made Minute on Instagram and follow me there for card hops and different things that I post on there that I don't have on YouTube. So let's get started. Let's show you the product, and we got to get some distress going. So let's just get started on what we're going to use. All right, this is the die cut that I had purchased some time ago and been waiting to use it. And so this is the Highlight Heart by Simon Says Stamp. And if you look at this die, it's a nice size heart, and it's got these little waves on the side. Now it doesn't necessarily cut all the way through, but it will pierce, and some of it does pierce through. So I thought I could use these for slots to kind of stick something in there, and I'll show you what we're going to do in a minute with that. Then I've had this lovely die that I've recently bought, an end stamp set from Simon Says Stamp, and I've got to use this in some form. I need to use it for Valentine's. I bought it for Valentine's, so we're going to use this die cut, and then some. Most likely, it's going to be your love. You are lovely, inside and out. All right, so we're probably going to go for that sentiment on both of these cards. This is another die that I purchased that I have not used yet recently, the Leafy Branch die by Simon Says Stamp. So you're going to see what we're going to do with this with some distress. We're going to use white and distress on this, both. Then with my envelope concept. So a while back for a card hop, I had made these cute little envelopes, and I thought these would be cute shoved into the little imprint thing on that die cut heart. But digging through my stash, I found this die set that I've not used yet, called Captured Heart. This is Gina K Designs with Simon Says Stamp. I think I'm just going to stamp this and do a little coloring, alcohol marker coloring on this. I'm going to see if this Sending Love fits on here, and I'm going to tuck this little envelope in there. This would look cute because it's got lots of little, interaction and stuff, but I think I'm going to have enough texture on everything else that I think just having this be simple is going to kind of play me right here in the end. And then I'm going to do some panels. So this heart and the leaves are going to be cut out of some distressed ink stuff, and then a panel. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to do some distress spray stain, shaded lilac, picked raspberry, and seedless preserves. So we're going to go kind of this pink lavender kind of background, and just a simple A2 size card. So let me get started with our background. And so this background we're going to use for one full background on the card itself, on the card front. Then I'm going to use another piece of it to cut out the leaves and a heart. All right? Doing opposites here. So if it's not making sense, just hang with me and it will as we go. All right. So this whole piece I need to distress and layer this color up. I'm not using watercolor on this. I'm just using Nina cardstock. I think this is 100-pound cardstock. So I'm going to wet this pretty good. I know it's going to warp and things. I'll flatten it out. But I didn't want to use watercolor, and I don't want this to be too loose. I still want this to be pretty vibrant, and where that goes, it's going to stick on this type of paper. So, all right, let's just start playing, and let's just get messy. So, good coating of water on this. I'm going to start lightest to darkest. So we're going to start with my shaded lilac first. And I got enough water on here that you can see I got good movement off of this, but it soaks up pretty quick. So I'm going to get my first layer in here and then dry this back just a little bit. I might have to spray a little bit more water in here to move this just a little. And not, actually that's this first round, not too shabby, to be honest. I'm actually kind of digging this first round. I may actually throw a little bit more shaded lilac to pull out some of that lavender and call it a day on this. So I'm going to lightly spray this back just a little bit. Not completely dry it quite yet. Just enough to get this color now to stick and quit moving. I just want this to quit moving on me. All right, let's just get a little bit more of my shaded lilac in here. I want it to kind of come up to the front. And we're going to kind of stop there. I'm going to leave it there before it gets too dark and too muddy. All right, I want those drips to move on me. I don't want them to puddle, and I don't want to wipe them off. Just going to lift it and move it so that these drippies dry in there. I don't want to soak them up. Yeah, I like that a lot, actually. Good intense color. I want it. This one I wanted intense. I wanted a good intense color off of this. So I'm going to get this dry, and then we're going to work on some other pieces. Okay, I've got my paper almost about 98% dry. Now what I wanted to do is I have this paper by Craft Consortium, and I didn't want to use this for this card. I wanted to create my own because I just wanted to play, to be very honest, with some distress tonight. And so I thought, let's get out this distress and make my own. And that's what I'm going for, is I'm making my own of this type of paper. Now you can see on some of these, let me find one that's really prominent. Some of these have gold lining in it. So it's got the gold outlining the color. I'm going to try to replicate that on my own with some gold watercolor because I wanted that kind of effect. All right. So I'm just going to take, it's just a cheap, kind of a medium brush, load up my gold here and get that good and wet. And what I'm going to do, and I'll do it on a little scratch piece of paper here for you so you can kind of see the effect of this. So I'm going to pick up my gold, and what I want to do is I want to lay it down, drag and roll. Okay, so it's just a drag and roll as I do this to get, and I'm going to follow kind of the outline of my colors, not all of it, just kind of a random little pattern. Okay, I'm going to hold this flat because it is bending on me a little bit, and I'll show you. All right, load this up good with some gold here. And now you can see it. I'm going to switch my hand so I can roll. And I'm just going to, actually we're going to do this. Lay it down and I'm going to drag and roll. And I'm just outlining my pink. Okay? Drag and I'm just rolling it around. This looks like a good veiny spot right in through here. Just rolling it as I pull that through. And right along here. And I'm going to just pull that one kind of all the way down, I think, just following that line. Now, I could take a smaller brush if I wanted to. Let's just do a smaller brush so you can get the effect here. Because those lines are a little thick, right? So same thing, smaller brush. And now I'm just going to add some veins kind of with this smaller brush. And I'm just rolling it and pulling that all the way through. And this is going to get cut up. So don't worry about if it's just not perfect, because I'm cutting this up anyway. I'm going to go around this, this lavender here. I'm going to do one vein through here so I get something in that corner, and I think we're going to call it a day on this stuff. So right through here, and then I just want to go right down through this middle just a little bit, and I'm just kind of rolling it through. And that's it. Okay, now we're going to cut this up into what I need. I don't want to splatter. I could lightly splatter this. I don't want to splatter this. I don't want to overdo this. So now what I need is I need a full panel, and then I'm going to need the rest of that I'm going to cut into leaves and a heart. So one of these panels, I'm doing a full panel A2 size card. I've cut my mats to cover my full panel, minus about 1/8 of an inch. So I just got a little pink showing around that edge. All right. I'm going to go down just 2 sizes from that for this panel. So it's going to be 5 1/4 by 4. So I need 4 here. And I think I'm going to use this side here. I like the way this gold turned out a little bit better. So I'm going to use this side here for my full panel. So 4 by 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. And I'm already looking at my design where I want to cut off. I'm going to keep that line at the top, and I'm just going to cut here. So 5 1/4, like so. So this is one of my full panel backgrounds. Now this, I need to cut the leaves out of. So I'm going to cut a couple of these and 1 heart. All right. And I'm just going to lay these down. I might have to make another piece possibly for leaves. So let's just see here. I may need another piece, but I'll tuck this as tight as I can. So I'm going to go die cut these, and I'll be right back. Okay, as you can see now, I've taken and cut a heart and 2 leaves out of that panel. This is what's left of it. So great use of all that, hardly any scraps. I might use some little heart dies on that to cut that out. Then I did the same thing. I cut 2 white and 1 white heart. Now what I need is just a little gold to carry over from this theme into this card. So for the leaves, I'm just going to take and randomly kind of speckle some gold in there. Okay. Using the same gold pan set here, just a little bit on my brush, and all I'm doing is just a random gold all around, okay? I just want to carry some of that gold into this. And then I'm going to do a little gold embossing on my heart. And what I want is just kind of that, like a swipe across, almost like this one, but larger. Because that one ended up just perfect as I could use as an example. But I just want almost a paint swipe. All right, that's it for that little flex there. I think I'm done with those. Now, all I'm going to do, grab my powder catcher here. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my pad, my Versamark pad, and I'm just going to do a swipe across. So I just want a swipe of gold across from this. Okay? And I don't need it on my little cut pieces here, but I'm just going to go across. Just like so. And then I'm going to just get some random pieces off of that. All right, I just wanted it a little rough on the edges. Now, we're just going to emboss this. I'm actually going to switch. I always tend to grab my Princess Gold, but we're going to go the Gold Super Fine by Ranger. And the idea here was just to get a good old swipe of gold, like it had just been brushed with a brush. Like so, and that just turned out perfect for what I was kind of had in mind. That's just it right there. I'm going to get some of this off. so it doesn't carry over into this stuff. All right, I love the imperfection on that. I'm going to emboss this. We'll be right back. Okay, now you can see, good swipe across there. I'm just super happy with how that turned out. Swipe it however you want. Brush it. You could use I could have used like a, you know, a pad or a paintbrush to brush that however you want. I just used the pad itself and swiped it. Okay, now this is the second panel. I'm going to have it hard embossed, but what I want is I want to carry this lavender theme just a tiny bit. I don't want this to be all white. I could stick to that, but I want just a tiny bit of color on top of this, okay? So I'm going to take my Tim Holtz Distress watercolored pencils that I've shaven down and put into my little palette here, and I'm going to go over into this purpley kind of range and very light. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hard embossing folder and I'm going to paint just randomly inside some of these hearts. Then I'm going to lightly mist it, put my panel in here and run it through, okay? So I'm going to move this stuff out of my way so I don't get too messy. All right, now I'm going to just pull in, I think I'm going to do that one, I believe, yeah. And just lightly, okay? So I'm just going to go through and give some of these random color and paint these in. It'll squish down because it's kind of pooling. It will squish down once you get the paper in here. Because it's plastic, it wants to bead up. So I'm getting a decent little pool inside there, but not a ton that'll squish out too much on me. You know, and when I was trying to come up with this card, and maybe you can't see with it on the black there, but, oh, hang on, spilled some water. All right. There was a couple different techniques I wanted to do, and then I was trying to figure out how I could incorporate different, like, I wanted to do heart embossing folder. I wanted to do the gold striping kind of thing to mimic that one paper. So I was just trying to figure out how to lay out these cards with what I wanted to do. And because I wanted, maybe I'm combining too many techniques, I don't know. Maybe not. All right, couple dab and a couple more of these that I already put in there. Refill them up just a little bit more. Okay, it is pretty wet, but I am just going to give it just a little spritz and lay this in here. Like so. All right, I'm going to run this through my Big Shot, and I'll be right back. Okay, you can see that squished out quite a bit on me, but I'm okay with that. Not what I thought was going to happen. I knew it was going to squish out some, but more than I thought. So what I did is I actually went and added a few more, really wet this down and let it bleed more, and then super dried this back. So now I've got it nice and dry. So I did add more after I embossed it and wet it and let it run just a little extra. And I'm going to keep it. I was debating if I should just go white on white with this, but I'm going to actually keep this because we're going to just kind of see how this turns out. All right. Now I'm going to assemble what I have so far, and then basically we've got to get some sentiments going. So let's just assemble what we have so I can get these drying. And so these are just going to go on a simple black mat. I figured black because then I could, you know, the colors that I have going on here will definitely then pop just a little bit more, and I just think black, nice and classic, right? I don't think I need any more pinks and purples and stuff going on these cards already. There's plenty already. All right, just make sure I got that lined up before that dries on me. All right, let me put my weight on that one. Let that dry nice and good. Then I'll add this one. And I was kind of thinking what I should do for that lovely sentiment, and I think we're going to go gold on black. Because that ties in the golds and stuff that I have going on here. And then that black mat that I'm using already on these. So we're going to go gold and black on these. Weight those down so I get them dry and flat. Get a good tack on those. And then they're going to go on these. So what I'm going to do, I am going to... the insides, let's see here, I had two, yes, I got two. The insides of these, I think what I'm going to do is probably just leave these. Actually, you know what? We're going to throw these little hearts on there to carry a little bit in there. That's perfect because we're going to do these envelopes and stuff yet anyway. So we're going to throw these hearts right up the side to bring a little love to the inside of this card. Why not? So we're going to just get some, I want to carry this purpley theme. So I'm going to get out my Serenade by Catherine Pooler. And we're just going to stamp this right up the side. Just like so. Nice little grouping going just right up, almost like little heart paw prints going up the side here. Do the same on this one. I try my hardest to carry kind of, not always, but carry themes kind of into the inside of the card, but not always. Sometimes I just don't feel like it's necessary. All right, we'll glue these to the insides. I did go pink base just to get some pink hearts Valentines in here, right? My inside base is 5 1/4 by 4. Just enough to give me some white space on the inside for writing. All right, put this one on there. And then while I'm waiting for these just to flatten out just a little bit more, I'm going to stamp out my envelope. Okay. I have my little scratch piece of paper here. We're going to stamp this out and do some little coloring on it. I grab a different one that got a little bit of water on it. Another little scrap, scrap-a-roosies. Let's see if that's big enough. That, not quite big enough. All right, here we go. So I'm just going to stamp this out in black, and then we're just going to do a little alcohol marker on it. All right, so I'm just going to throw, because I'm going to actually just cut these out, like fussy cut them. All right, since I'm using my alcohol, I'm going to do my memento. Pretty fine line on this, so it won't take much just to get good coverage on that. There we go. Now I'll just rotate this around so I get in that corner. So I get 2 of them. Perfect. All right, let's just do a little coloring on these. I'm going to grab what I want for color on these, clean this up just a tweak, and I will be right back. All right, I am back. I have cut these out. I did forget that this did come with a die cut, so I did die cut out the envelopes. I also die cut out the word lovely from this stamp set, so it comes with the word itself and then the shadow die. So I've cut those out and we'll assemble those. Let's just color these quick. I'm going to do some pink envelopes, and I did grab a gray just to probably give that paper just a little bit of color, and then I wanted to see if this word fit on there, and it does not. So I might just write the word love in there. once we get this colored. So I got 2 shades of pink, a darker and a medium, that we're going to just shade this with. And we'll just kind of start with my dark. And I'm just going to zoom in just as much as I can here for you. There we go. Just so you can kind of see what I am doing. So just shading around the edges here. All around in this kind of a medium pink. I'm using a Hoo markers. They're very, very, very juicy, and the tips are the brush tips, so they are kind of soft. So when I'm doing fine stuff like this, it's like you almost just have to lightly brush and barely touch the paper to get it on. Otherwise, if I really push down, it'll way oversaturate. So that's just kind of, you know, once you use these a little bit more, you get kind of used to what kind of touch you need to give it. Shade in these little corners and around this one. Pink envelope, white paper, giving it just a little bit of gray to give it that illusion of white. We'll do this one. Since I've got one for each card, basically is what I'm doing here. Whoop. Got a little bit there, but that's all right. I can blend that out with my lighter color. And then I'll go around and I'll just trace the rest of this with my light pink to blend this out. I was going to do 3 colors. I like to blend in 3s, but for this I just thought it's just so simple. There's not a ton of detail, so I'm like, I don't need 3 on this. There's just not a ton of detail. All right. So I think, yeah, I think this was the peachy one. I don't want the peachy one. Yep, that is the peachy one. All right, and with these, you just go back over what you just colored. And I keep going over it until I can see that blend start to happen before I start pulling that out. Because you'll see it kind of almost diminish. And I shouldn't say diminish, it doesn't go away, but it just softens, the line starts softening, and then that's where I'll just start pulling that out, because it almost like that alcohol dissolves that out, right? Don't forget those little corners and things. Like you can still do a light and a dark in there to get the dimension into those little spots. That's just kind of what gives that stuff that little bit of extra. The eye doesn't necessarily catch it right away, but visually it's just going to give you that little extra. Nice little shaded pink envelope. That's it. Easy peasy. Oh, it's a little peachy, but that's okay. Kind of going with what I have for markers, basically, at this point. And just blend that out. And then I'm going to do just that little soft gray with probably just a little bit of the blending marker on the paper to blend it out, just to soften it just a tiny bit. I didn't have a light enough gray, so we're going to have to go kind of the lightest I could pick and blend that out. And then we'll glue together our word, lovely. And I just got to stamp 2 things. And we'll finish assembling. All right, I'm going to grab my lightest gray that I have, Hoo markers. This is WG01, just a light warm gray. And I'm just going to go very lightly, a little extra in those corners, across the edges, and then I'm going to use my little blender to blend that out. And the same thing here, just round those corners out. This card these cards kind of have a little bit of extra pieces, but not too bad. All right, now I'm just using my blender just to soften that out just a little bit. Not to dissolve it completely, just to soften that line of that out. And then these are done. My handwriting is so bad, I'm debating on writing the word love. I might have to look at my stamp sets here and see if I got something that'll fit in there. All right, there are those. Let's just assemble my words here. I'll do one. I'll finish the other one off camera just because I want to show you that this is in a couple of pieces. And then I'll check on my word die here on a word for love on that envelope. All right, so this is in like 3 pieces to do. Just like so. I think this black and gold will pop really nice off of all this color too. 2, and then the last little piece, easy to assemble, nice rounded edges. It's not too thin, so it's easy to line up. Yeah, I really like this word die actually. First time using this word die and I'm really digging it. Super easy. Pop that out. So we got that. I got my 2 little envelopes. All right, I'm going to do the other word here. I'm going to just check to see if I can find a word love or something that'll fit in here. And we'll come back, we'll stamp, and then we will assemble this. Okay, I have all my elements ready. We finished the envelopes. I finished the last word, lovely, and I've put my dimensionals on them. I embossed out "You Are Inside and Out" so that I can have that for my sentiment going around the word lovely. All from the Simon Says Stamp Lovely stamp set that came with the lovely die that we are using. So it's time to assemble. I'm just going to start putting these on my card base here first and get one drying as I start with the other one. And I'm going to assemble these since there's so much dimension going on with these. I'm going to assemble these on the card base itself. Let me get up above so I can kind of make sure I'm lined up here. And I'll just weight this down as I'm gluing the other one. Get that to adhere. And now you can kind of see the way I had these laid out. I'm going opposites, right? So I've got purple elements on a white background, white elements on a purple-pink background. So just these 2 different cards. The one concept then that I decided I could do opposites of these as I was thinking about the design itself. All right. Let that dry. All right, this is my white elements on purple. And I'm going to need one of my word lovely. We're going to need one each of those and one of these. All right, I'm going to glue these down, but I'm not going to glue them all the way down because I do want them kind of popping off the page so that I have that dimension. So I'll get these bases of these glued. And I'm not going all the way to the top. And my heart is going to lay over the top of these leaves. And then the other one's going to go through there. The heart I did pop up on dimensionals, along with that word lovely. Go other side here since I'm about like so. Okay. Now I'm going to put this on first. So this is where I was talking about at the beginning that I knew I could tuck something in here, and I thought that would look cute just kind of tucked on my heart. So this just gets glued down. This is why I decided not to do that folded envelope that I'd done for a card hop, because I'm like, it's simple enough that I don't need the flappies open and all that stuff. Oh, I think that's just adorable. All right, pop these down, and then I'll lay out my sentiments around all these elements. Glue this just to give myself a little bit of wiggle room in case I tap it down by accident here. So I think we're going to go just off kilter just a little bit and bring that down like so. Now let's see, you are lovely. I think inside and out might have to go down here. Lovely, and you are right about like so. I'm going to look up at the camera because that might be too much with that. If I lay that in there, that does not necessarily go around. I think we're just going to bring this down. Actually, I can go across and then do the UR like so. I think that'll work. All right, let's just tack this down. I'm going to actually probably put a couple more stacked dimensionals on this side, on each end, because it's going to be popping over that heart that's already up on dimensional. So we'll just add a couple more squares on top of these ones just to give it that height. Like so. Easy. That way it just keeps this just keeps everything level for you. Especially when you got something overhanging like that. They're so tiny that my big old hands and thumbs here can't always manipulate around that stuff as easy. Alright, I'm going to give myself just a little bit of wiggle room with some glue on these so it doesn't stick too tight right away. Whoop. Trying to flick something off and then I... Alright, get that little piece off there, come on. Okay. Lovely, we're just going to go right across like so. Yep, and that worked out perfect because now that just lays so nice. We're going to throw inside and out here in the corner. I love this. I think there's just enough texture and just enough dimension with that flow of color. Now it'll be interesting now once we lay this out with the white and purple, how much that purple will pop. Pardon my head, just making sure everything's straight. All right, there's card number 1. Now let's get the white one laid out here. Same concept, same exact elements. Except these are the ones that I cut out of that distress sprayed paper that we made right at the very beginning. I was kind of thinking that envelope would look cute, and maybe it might be too much now. I could have did lovely across that heart, but I was like, I wanted like that little note to my heart or something in there. Okay. Same thing. I'm just going to add this. I should keep it out just to see, but I'm going to add it. It's made. I'm going to add it. Tuck it in there. Went up a little higher on it this time just to get my word in there better. Get the heart down. It's a little itsy bitsy fussy elements that seem to, you know, hold you up on a card sometimes, right? Because I think overall the card comes together pretty quickly. There's not a ton of elements to it. It's just the steps. You know, we've got to do the distress, and then we've got all the die cutting, and then the assembly. You know, it's the fussy stuff. I'm going to go off just kilter just a little bit on this again. Like so. All right. And I'm going to have to do the same thing on the ends. So I'll add a couple squares here on the ends to keep that level. Sometimes I use my little pick tool to get these ones, but these little squares come off so easy that sometimes that pick tool just keeps pulling them off the paper anyway. I debated if I should just glue these down because it's so this is so fussy, but I had to pop it. You know me, I love my dimension, I love my texture, and the bright colors. I tend to go with, you know, a lot of the bright colors and things. Come on, my last little piece here. There we go. All right, let me just stack a couple more squares on these end ones. So there, there, and then one more, like so. Peel those off. I just looked up at my camera, and I'm really digging that card, actually. I'm really digging it. All right, give me a little wiggle room with my glue to get this down. All right, grab that. And then the UR, need a little trim off of that little piece yet. Same spots on this one too. I'm going to put these down at the same exact spots. And then we'll tuck this one right here in the corner. I wonder if that one should go. Put it over top. No, I'm not. Don't like that. I'm going to pop this up on some dimensionals on the ends here and lay it over the tip of that heart. So I've got to do two because it just didn't tuck in that corner as nice. So stack these because it's going to be stacked on the end there. And then just the middle part will be right over the tip of the heart. Man, these little squares tonight are just giving me a run for my money. Big time giving me a run for my money. There we go. If you don't get that slippery paper off, it will not stick. All right, one more little piece here. Just like so. Okay, good grief almighty. Get this final little piece down. Just going to go right on either side just like so. Move that over. Oh, goodness gracious, these little tiny bits. Okay, there are my two opposites. This was my original concept. Something a little different concept. It turned into this, then it turned into this, just to have opposites of those two cards. So I'm going to zoom in just a tiny bit so you can get a little better view of those. Man, do I like these. This is just inspiration from DSP paper that I had, a little swiping technique I had seen, and then turning, the play of the distress I wanted to do. So there are my two cards. Thank you so much for hanging with me till the very bitter end. We got these two cards out. I got my concept from brain to paper. I don't know how I did it. You just start playing and then it comes out of what you're going to do. So thanks for hanging with me. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. You can also follow me on Instagram at Manly Made Minute. Would love to have you follow me. And don't forget that thumbs up and a comment. I greatly appreciate it. So until next time, I'll see you then.